Iron Lung hit theaters on January 30th of 2026. A lot of people knew about it because the writer, director, and main actor are all played by Markiplier. If you don't know who that is, there's the door. Iron Lung was originally a game released in 2022 that Markiplier was taken enough with to birth this acid trip of a movie. But what's it even about? Humanity has spread far into space, colonizing on various planets, moons, and free-floating space stations. However, one day the quiet rapture happens. Suddenly, all inhabitable planets and all stars disappear, only leaving a few stray space stations behind. There is no explanation for what caused the quiet rapture or what happened to the people that disappeared during it. There is, however, a planet with the possibility of life. So Simon, a prisoner and our main character, is sent and must explore a sea of blood inside a submarine called the Iron Lung. This movie is chock full of ideologies to explore, so let's start with the first and arguably most obvious one that the movie reinforces pretty obviously. If the name Quiet Rapture didn't hint to a religious undertone, then maybe the martyr-like Simon did. Or maybe it was the baptizing-like blood scenes. Or the fact that Simon comes from a space station called Eden. Either way, very religious. This movie seems to suggest an all-encompassing, all-powerful side to faith. Think cults, not churches. Simon becomes a slave to the sea of blood he explores, and the submarine manuals are kinda like his Bible.
All the fucking things. I swear. If I have to read those fucking manuals.
His faith ultimately destroys what little humanity he has left. We can also argue it's actually what gives him humanity, but we won't get into both arguments for the sake of time. It's important to note that this movie isn't mocking religion, quite the opposite. Simon's faith in saving humanity, even though he knows this mission is bound to fail, is admirable. He isn't perfect. He makes mistakes. And he is a prisoner. But he fights against his moral restraints, fights against his instincts to self-preservate, and fights for the greater good. He's a modern martyr. What the movie pokes at is the idea that faith saves you. The faith of the characters guide them, for sure, but it guides them to their deaths. For those unfamiliar with the game this movie was based on, a lot of people probably thought it was about polio. Polio is a disease that nowadays isn't a huge concern, thank you modern medicine, but in the past, thousands were affected and died from it, including Franklin Roosevelt. It caused muscle stiffness, lack of muscle control, paralysis, fevers, paresthesia, which is tingling/burning of the skin, and death. The iron lung was developed in 1927, meant to stimulate breathing by using negative pressure. Looking at the submarine and an iron lung side by side, it's easy to make a connection between the two. But iron lung is so specific, right? Well, Simon can be seen as a patient in an iron lung. He is sick with the selfishness to survive. It's people like him that are what's wrong with the world. But that's not the full story. Like I mentioned earlier, he is a martyr. It's not Simon that needs to be eradicated. It's everything outside of him. The sea of blood, the scientists forcing him down there, the universe. They're all the diseases that he must be protected from. Humanity isn't the blameless victim against sci-fi monsters. We are part of the beast. This may be a theory or it may be fact. I believe it's fact, but I haven't been able to double check it. With this movie being in theaters, it's kind of hard to do that. But I believe there's evidence to think that the sea of blood and the monster itself that lives in the sea of blood is made up of human beings. So that also kind of adds to this point.
Please. I don't know if you're just my imagination. I don't know what's real anymore. I've been losing track of time, and I've been seeing some things. need you to be real right now, okay? I just want to live. Is that so wrong? Why doesn't anybody else want that?
The Iron Lung submersible is supposed to save lives, or bring them back. It's a little unclear. But what does this technology really do? Well, I hate to break it to you, but it ends terribly for Simon and Ava, who is the lead scientist forcing him down there. Even her lab partner falls at the hand of the submersible, and he never steps inside it.
My job? My job? Oh, I'm sorry. The handcuffs must have confused me. I didn't realize this was voluntary! Hey! Don't walk away! If this is so important to you, why aren't you going down there? Hey! Go down! Come back! And then I'm free! That was the deal! How many times are you gonna use me before you let me go? What?
Are you out of your mind?
Oh, good. You can hear me. Now get someone else for your suicide mission, because I'm not going.
Black test with radiation, you psycho-eating fuck!
Nothing involved with the Iron Lung survives. This technology kills. Some places just aren't meant to be explored. Maybe the ocean of pure blood should be left alone and humanity should accept their fate. It's reminiscent of the, we'll call it experiment, led by Brian Johnson in 2023. He, 47 at the time, swapped plasma with his 17-year-old son in hopes of turning back the clock and achieving mortality. This so-called Project Blueprint still continues in 2025, by the way. This, combined with technologies like Neuralink, which is Elon Musk's brain chip, and the cultural obsession of mixing AI with humanity to upgrade our species, is a warning. Humans need to stick in their lane. Science can lead to great progress. It gave us treatment for polio, but it will also be the end of us, as it was for Simon. Even if it doesn't eradicate humankind, will we still be considered humans with brain chips and wires for veins?
And how did we forget it? It was everything. We saw the answer. Yeah. You have to find us. We need to see it. It was meant for us. Please. The answer is right there. It was meant for us. We need to see it. We need to see.
What the fuck?
We need to see.
The main character suffers for no reward, the world isn't saved, all hope is lost, and the monster prevails. It's a safe bet to say this movie is progressive. It challenges ideas we hold in high esteem, like faith and technological advances, but it points to a darker side of humanity that we tend to look away from. Even just the structure alone is pretty progressive in itself. It's very slow, there's not a ton of dialogue. We really only follow Simon. We hardly see any other in-person characters. The only other characters are really just voices over the intercom. And we have to sit in silence. With so many movies being really overstimulating and there's a lot going on, Iron Lung really sticks out because the movie is dark, it's kind of blurry, it's quiet, difficult to hear. It's definitely an experience as dressed as a movie. You are meant to feel more than you're meant to understand, which definitely sets this movie apart from a lot of the others in theaters that are way more traditional. It definitely does not tell you its plot 3 times. It really doesn't tell you its plot in crystal clear formatting, because you can think that the plot is scientific discovery, but then it kind of veers off into eldritch horror, and there's never like a clear explanation given for anything, but that's kind of the point. So I didn't know a perfect place to put this, but I thought it was really cool and I wanted to talk about it. There has been a connection between Simon, the main character of this movie, and Laika. And for those of you who don't know who that is, Laika was the Soviet space dog who was one of the first animals in space and the first to orbit Earth. She was a stray dog found on the streets of Moscow, and she is not only famous for what she achieved, but because of what happened to her. She did not make it back. I will spare you the details of her story. It is very heartbreaking, but she passed in space. And people have compared her to the fictional character of Simon by calling them the patron saints of one-way trips. Because Simon knows when he goes into the submersible, he's not coming back up. He knows that. He knows that there's not really an out for him. And you watch that break him throughout the course of the movie, and I will keep this somewhat vague because I really, really think this movie needs to be watched without knowing too much of it. But you realize at the end, and it's part of the horror, that he never had a chance. There are so many things that build up throughout the course of the movie that just point to him never having the ability to survive. Once he was welded inside the iron lung, because they are welded inside, he was gone. Just like Laika was. And it's super heartbreaking, but I think super poetic, and just something I really wanted to talk about, but I didn't know how to perfectly fit that into my ideologies.
This is not an expedition. It's an execution. When they put you in here, they don't want you to return. And even if you do, and even if they keep their promises, what freedom waits for you? A few dying ships in a sea of dead stars. If there is still hope, it lies beyond the veil. Hope in this void is as illusionary as the starlight. I will choose to breathe my last here, at the bottom of an ocean. Unseen, unheard, uncontrolled. They will get their execution. I will get my freedom.
Sorry, brother. But I want to live.
If you haven't seen this movie, but something I've talked about here interests you, please see it. This movie is very human, despite being a sci-fi dystopian story of humanity's intergalactic downfall. And, I mean, we kind of get closer to that reality every day. So maybe Iron Lung won't be science fiction in a few years. Only time will tell if the Earth disappears, leaving only a few of us to piece humanity back together by what remains on a foreign planet that hosts a sea of blood with unfathomable horrors within it. But yeah, really good movie overall. I highly recommend if you don't mind sitting in the dark with your thoughts and your fears for a very prolonged period of time. 9 out of 10.